everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Priscilla and I talk about faith, purpose and marriage. And I'm happily married to my best friend and purpose partner. I film from Ghana. Again, welcome. If it's your first time here, please go ahead and join the family by clicking on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so that you get to be notified anytime, blah 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 blah. Please join the family. I feel like this is so much. Anyway, so in today's video, I want us to talk about standards. And I want to share something little about myself. One of the things that I believe I did when I was single was to have standards that I consider to be high standards. And here's what I mean. I'm not talking about physical standards like I wanted a man who is this tall, who had this complexion, who did this kind of work, or who was into this type of ministry or stuff like that. Honestly, I'm not one of those people who believes that you should write a list of the things that you want in your husband. But I did have standards when it comes to the godly aspect, the spiritual aspect, which is what I want us to talk about today. So as I said, I had no list. But here's what actually helped me, or here is how I held on to that standard. It was a conviction. I had a personal conviction, and that conviction was that marriage was such a big deal for me that I was not going to just choose anybody. I was going to allow the Lord to lead me. And if you've watched a couple of my videos, you know that this is one of the things that I talk a lot about. I talk about understanding God's will for your life. This was one of the reasons that I actually held on to those standards, because I had an idea the kind of future that God had for me, and I had an idea how important my marriage would be to that. And by the way, if you're a purpose-driven person and you really want to do what it is that the Lord has called you to do, you understand that your marriage can either make you or mar you. Your marriage can make it difficult for you to realize that purpose or even propel you to do better. So anyway, I didn't for any reason think that I was going to say yes to just any man, even if he was a quality man. And if I'm going to be honest, I had a couple of quality men. When I say quality men, men who were born again, godly, good looking, and all of that, who came around. But for me, what was super important was not just me saying, okay, yes, after all, he's a Christian, after all, he's good looking and stuff like that. We click and, let's just go and get married. No. For me, it was, am I convinced? Is the Lord leading me? And this is something that I wasn't ready to compromise on. Seriously. So this is the kind of standards that I want us to talk about today. If you are an ambitious woman, if you are a purposeful lady, and you dream of having a beautiful marriage, I do hope that you understand how important your marriage is going to be to your future, to you achieving your goals, and to you pursuing your divine purpose and all of that. I want to ask you today, what standards are you holding on to? What convictions are you holding on to that are guiding you in the choice of a life partner? Today, my message is, do not lower your standards. Now, let me tell you why I am talking about this. It can actually be very tempting for you to lower your standards when you get to a certain stage where you probably have had a couple of men, a couple of brothers propose marriage to you, and you feel like, girl, what's wrong with you? Just say yes to any of them and let's move on. I mean, they are godly men, they are good looking, they tick all your boxes and stuff like that. It's very easy for you to begin to say, okay, maybe let me just say yes. After all, marriage is not that deep. Well, I do believe that marriage is that deep, so I'm going to leave that to you. If you actually believe that marriage is that deep, because I believe that my marriage is not just about me. I believe that then that my marriage was not going to be just about me, that definitely I was going to do something with my spouse, and my marriage was going to affect whatever it is that the Lord has called me to do and all of that. And I wanted God himself to lead me, because definitely he knew the kind of life that I would have, and all of those details. So if you're in that situation where you've had a couple of men show up into your life and they are quality men, but you don't have that personal conviction, I would say don't lower that standard, that conviction, basing on to make decisions to say, okay, let me just go ahead and get married. And of course, the reason is that believe that when you are convinced, when you let the Lord lead you, you would have made the best choice, because he knows your future. For me, it's not really just about, oh, we click oh, we understand each other, so let's get married. I believe that there's more to marriage than that, because our marriage is going to affect our kids, our marriage is going to affect the people that the Lord has called us to serve as well. And so there has to be alignment. There really has to be alignment. So that's the first thing that I want to share with you. The second thing is, if you lower your standards, and here I'm going to go to the parts that we usually talk about the Lord, like maybe you've told yourself that, listen, I want to keep myself pure until I get married. I don't want to do anything like kissing. I don't want to do anything like touching. I want to have a pure relationship until marriage. And there you are, you have men, so-called Christian men, who have come and they're like, listen, not in these times. Like you have to be a bit more flexible. Listen, we can just kiss. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, things like that. And there you are, you're beginning to think, maybe I'm too rigid. Maybe I should just lower my standards. And after all, I'm not the only Christian now. Anyway, well, I would say, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to lower your standards? What I would rather encourage you to do, because listen, sin is sin. What I would encourage you to do is for you to make sure that you are well positioned. I have seen on social media, by the way, I've read comments, seen ladies say that now it has become difficult to find godly men. I'm not sure if I read right, but to that, if you also feel that way, I would say that you should ask yourself, how are you positioning yourself and how are you looking for those men? Because you don't even have to look for them. You need to learn how to position yourself to attract the right kind of man. So you probably should check that. What are you doing? Why is it that you keep having men that you do not want to get married to come and propose marriage to you? And you may actually find out that this may have something to do with the fact that you've lowered your standards, because you feel like you need to do so much to look attractive physically. I'm not saying don't look good, definitely look good. I've spoken about that before right here on the channel. But when you begin to think, maybe I should just loosen up a bit, maybe I should just show more skin, maybe I should wear more tight things to show my morphology and stuff like that, so that men will also see that I'm attractive. You may end up attracting the kind of men that you don't want to get married to, and you begin to say, why is it I'm only attracting sensual men? Why is it I'm only attracting men who are drawn to my body and just want to sleep with me, or just go physical and stuff like that? So definitely check that as well. Another reason that I encourage that you do not lower your standards is that it can actually lead you to compromise on your faith, and that actually is similar to what I just said, right? So if you have beliefs about purity and you have beliefs about certain things that you shouldn't do, when you lower your spiritual standards, your godly standards, you may find yourself compromising on that because you want to have a man. And this would definitely continue in marriage as well. And you see why I said that marriage is a big deal. It's very deep. Because if your desire is to have a godly marriage, then you understand that it starts from when you are choosing who you want to settle down with. Because how it starts definitely is going to continue. I don't want to say, it's going to change, and we probably will talk about that in another video and all of that, but you want to make sure that you don't start off based on compromise, because you may have to keep compromising to keep that relationship. And the thing with sin, the thing with compromising is that you will do something little first and then you have to do more. So like, we are not going to go anywhere, just maybe kisses or just pegs and things like that, and before you know it, you're gone. Alright, so do not lower your standards when it comes to purity. Another thing that I want to talk about is the fact that trying to lower your standards may actually make you look desperate. When you want something so badly, and then you begin to think, I'm missing out, I think time is running out, I need to do all I can. You begin to look desperate. So you may find yourself being in the faces of men, trying to be the one doing the chasing. And I feel like doesn't sound well, okay? You're going to begin to look desperate. When you look desperate, I feel like you'll be repelling the right kind of men, because for some reasons, I don't know if I'm old school, but I do believe that you should not do the chasing, and that you should attract, not do the chasing. And attraction is done subtly. You don't go all like trying to force yourself on people, because men, like the moment a man smiles with you, you're like, maybe he's the one. I need to really do everything to get his attention and stuff like that. So trying to lower your standards may make you look desperate. Again, you want to check, where is this coming from? Is it coming from the fact that you think you're not growing any younger and there's so much pressure? I shot a video on this pressure thing. You may want to check it out. Trying to lower your standards may also make you look less confident. Confidence attracts. It attracts men who are also confident. So if you lower your standards, then you're not so sure of yourself. Maybe you need to do this, you need to do that, and then you, of course, it also linked to desperation, to look less confident. And this will definitely affect the kind of men that you attract and how well you position yourself in whatever relationship that you go into. Another thing that trying to lower your standards will do is that it will make it difficult for you to hear God's voice, because you will be in that kind of atmosphere and mood where you're trying to do everything within your own power to grab a man. So you will not be attentive, you will not be sensitive to the voice of the Holy Spirit for him to lead you. You'll be trying to do things by your own strength, and it will become very, very frustrating. You do know how big I am on let the Lord lead you, and this definitely means that you should be able to hear God's voice. By the way, if you're listening and you don't know how to hear the voice of God, you definitely should get a copy of my best-selling book, Understanding God's Will for My Life, because in there I go step by step and show you how you can hear the voice of God, especially with regards to marriage. Conclude, let me say that one of the things that can actually push you to lower your standards is the kind of friends that you have around you, the kind of people that you listen to, the kind of things that you watch and all of that. So definitely be careful what you watch, what you listen to, the kind of conversations that you have. Ensure that you have people around you who have similar standards and convictions as you, so that they can keep you going even when it feels like, girl, I am tired, why is no man coming? And please, let's remember again here that I'm not talking about the physical things, or I'm not talking about, you should be as tall as this, you should have this complexion. I probably will shoot a video about that where I will share my personal experience and how that actually played out and everything, because I'm not saying it's not important, but I want to talk about how holding on to some of these things can actually make it difficult for you to see and identify the right person and all of that. But anyway, so this is what I had to share with you today. I hope that it's been insightful. Please, if it was, like this video, and as I always say, share this with someone. Share it to your WhatsApp status, share it with your friends. You never know who needs to hear this message. You never know who is about to lower their standards, who's actually thinking about lowering their standards. So go ahead and share this with a friend. And if you haven't yet joined my YouTube family, I hope that you join us today by clicking on that subscribe button and also on the notification bell, so that you get to be notified anytime I post new videos. Thank you so much for watching. On se dit à la prochaine. Au revoir.